All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. Since 9/11, let's go ahead and talk about some real issues within the last 15 years. 15 years. I want you to listen to me very closely. Some time ago, we used to be heavily into talking about the Hegelian dialectic: problem, reaction, solution. In other words, we create the problem, and in creating that problem, we're waiting on the response to see what type of reaction it's going to be since we create the problem. And then we provide the solution. And mind you, we were the problem makers from the very beginning. Let's look at some real issues here, all right? Since 9/11, the United States of America was $3.2 trillion in debt. Since the Bush administration and the Obama administration, listen to this now, we're knocking right on the doorstep, if we have not surpassed it, $20 trillion. We have all but tripled the national debt. And we have actually expanded the debt in this country right here, which is actually impoverishing not only the country, but us, the people. And that's what a lot of people don't see. You know, the illusion is that we have money and we're broke, we're bankrupt as a country. And the sad part about it is that most Americans can't see the forest for the trees because they refuse to educate themselves, and they're thinking that jobs are going to come back to this country after the outsourcing of GAFTA, CAFTA, and NAFTA. You can forget it. Now they're talking about TPP. You can forget it. You can forget it. The only jobs that are available nowadays are service sector jobs. Motel maids, hotel maids, bartenders, clerks, or whatever. We're not talking about industrial jobs. We're not talking about industry because they pretty much done all skied up because of the heavy taxation that's here in America. Now, they still have to pay taxes and stuff, but the problem is that they don't want to pay the wages that Americans are demanding in order for their industry to flourish. Because after all, you can go overseas and you can pay somebody $2 an hour to do what an American wants $20 and $25 an hour. And it's all, but I tell you what, so what good has the unions done for any of us? But since 9/11, we have literally expanded the war, so-called alleged war on terrorists. Let me see. You got a couple of guys that allegedly flew planes into the World Trade Center. Notice they hit the financial area. And then you got buildings just falling down out of nowhere. Pull it, collapse, pull it. Silverman. And look how many countless of soldiers have died in these, watch this, warrantless wars. Do y'all understand that in the last 20 or 30 years that we have never, ever, ever had a war declared by Congress? We got dictatorship. That's all we got going on. We got literally dictatorship going on. We've expanded the war. And remember, we're supposed to go after the bad guys. Let me see. Osama bin Laden was allegedly the mastermind behind the World Trade Center. But since then, we've been at war with Afghanistan. We've been at war with Iraq. We've been at war with Syria. We've been at war with Yemen. We've been at war with, no, we lost the war and lost area in Crimea and over to Russia. And Russia is failing to keep its obligations. China is backing Russia. Saudi Arabia is all but done threw us under the bus. Like I keep telling you, we're raiding the living hell out of the Congo and just literally exploiting Africa for all of its resources. As I sit and think about this, we have literally used this as a staging platform. We have literally all but decimated the East. And in that, our personal civil liberties have eroded to an unprecedented level till we, the law-abiding citizens, are the ones who are being treated like terrorists and criminals. Look, we're being fingerprinted, we're being surveillanced, we're being watched. We're being tagged. Show me your papers. Everywhere you go, show me your your license is a card, but it's show me your papers. Show me your papers. And we're being tracked. Man, we're being eavesdropped on by our government. The phone companies record every single bit of data that we use and all to put in store in a national database. It's utterly amazing. And who are watching? Who is it that's gonna, as allegedly we say, police to police? Who is watching all of these war criminals? Who is watching all of these politicians? Apparently, meaning you can't see that it's actually sold the country out to special interest groups, the lobbyists, and Wall Street. Who's holding them accountable? Now you got everybody in the country pretty much damn impoverished, and now everybody's just squabbling at the table, waiting for some crumbs to fall from it so that we can fight each over it. It's just utterly amazing. It's just, you can't make this stuff up because, again, this sounds just like Rome. Now, instead of carrying around silver certificates, we're carrying around paper and calling it money. We're carrying around ironclad slugs and calling it money. I mean, when I'm informed, so every time I give this money over, this false paradigm, and every time I turn around and get some more paper back, when it costs the same amount of money to print the same paper, every time I turn around and get this paper back, then I turn around and receive all these ironclad slugs. When I know that constitutional money is gold and silver, I see what's happened. I'll tell you what's happened, though. We have gotten comfortable, and now we truly get to see everything that's going on since we have independent news sources. I like RT. I do. I like RT because they actually talk about the stuff that the mainstream controlled news media refuses to talk about in this country, because mainstream controlled news media is sold out to, guess who? Big corporations. Who do you think paying for all those commercials when you watch these things? They got to take care of the back pocket and the bottom line. But to go from $3.2 trillion in debt to $20 trillion in debt, and nobody has the stomach to balance this budget. Jobs coming back. Why would they want to come back to a country that literally has done regulated businesses half to death, to where government is in everybody's business? Government only takes. Government does not produce anything. They can only take from the citizens through high taxation without representation. At a stroke of the pen, any one of these so-called representatives can actually put more taxes, hidden taxes. They did it on our phone bill years ago. They turn around and start taking taxes out of our phone bills. Now you take, somebody say, well, ain't no big deal. They take 60, 70, 80% out of our phone bill. Yeah, but times that, time 200 million people, and see what kind of revenue you got coming in. And then what are you doing with it? Social Security is bankrupt. Medicaid and Medicare is bankrupt. Unfunded liabilities has us in $250 trillion in debt. And we're moving at breakneck speed to $500 trillion, which is literally unfathomable. And what's the solution? Spend more money. Run up the debt. Quantitative easing into infinity. That's the solution. What's my solution? I told you, America, your country's forsaking you. And what you need to do is start investing in yourself. Look at this. There's a 1 ounce silver coin right here. That thing has never been to zero. Never in the history of mankind. Mankind has used talent sticks. Mankind has used ropes. They have used everything in the world to define what money was. But this has never been to zero. Silver and gold is going back there whether you like it or not. You can be pessimistic all you want. But it's just like anything. Those who prepare. You know, I had some idiot say to me, what was the statement? Something about, here's a brother that's trying to prepare like an Edomite. I was like, see, that's dismal ignorance. That is what you call a bizarre behavior. And that type of behavior is deeply and collectively embedded in the subconscious mind of man. That ignorance right there, it's almost a literal disease. It's a cancer, just hasn't been identified yet. Because that's the type of blissful ignorance that's going to have you begging and squabbling. And if not that, turn you into a raging maniac, a zombie, when it comes time for your needs to be met, which you hadn't prepared for because you were too stupid to prepare. That's the type of thing. I mean, I started the way I live, my homestead. It came into my mind in 1993. All right. I'm reading, I'm studying. I start actually visiting places in 95 and 96, different places, to see what they're doing. Isolated little places. The community actually started really truly materializing in 98. Can you think about that? 98. Before YouTube, before everybody had the internet in their homes, while many people was out feasting and playing, Pastor Dow and a few faithful brothers, we were fasting and praying, and not only that, we were working. You see, this his block wall back here, this is my home. I built it. No mortgage. In other words, I practice what I preach. Did I know how to lay blocks? Nope, sure didn't. Did I know how to frame a house? Nope, sure didn't. Did I know how to do any of this? Nope, sure didn't. Didn't know how to do none of it. But I applied myself. I did. Built a pretty nice community, pretty nice home for people too. So I think I know what I'm talking about. I'm speaking from expert opinion here because the proof is in the pudding. You look at all these organizations out here, all the preachers, man, they live like fat cats. They live in nice homes and everything, but they ain't done nothing for the people. It's utterly amazing. Utterly amazing. The contentment is food and clothing. Be content. But I tell you what, when you look at and see what these organizations, these preachers, they've enriched themselves, they've fattened themselves, and the people have hurt. They really have. And you're in trouble if you don't prepare. But mind you, what I just ran down to you is just a short history lesson of what has taken place in the last 15 years with this country. Can you imagine what the next 15 is going to look like?